And welcome to Co-op Guild. This is Steve, and I'm here with a preview playthrough of Echoes of the Sundering. This is an upcoming game to crowdfunding, and it is a 1 to 5 player open world fantasy adventure game. And it has a lot of simultaneous play. You'll be doing a little bit of deck construction as well as you explore different parts of a map, go to different cities and locations, and of course, try and complete different encounters with simultaneous play and a little bit of bag manipulation as well. This game really focuses on two main approaches to the game. There's exploration, where we move around the map, doing skill checks, encountering NPCs and talking to them, and just going on different adventure, making meaningful choices through a book. And the other part is going through different encounters. And that's basically going to be your battles. I'll be showing both of those in this playthrough. So here we have an example board set up. So in this game, you do need to run either 3 or 5 characters. And the nice thing about this game is you can play the characters either as a companion, which is a reduced scope way of playing the characters, or as a full playable character. So I will be playing as the shaman here. So this is my character. I'll be playing it. And you see here that it looks a little bit different because I have a class, my shaman class. I've got a deck of cards where I'll be managing, and this will be modified throughout the course of play. And I have different items and equipment. So let's take a quick look at the player areas. So I've got a number of things in front of me. I have a deck of cards here. So this deck, as I say, you'll be modifying this throughout the course of the game. It is built based upon choices you make when you build your character. You choose some decisions, and it'll tell you what types of cards to put in there. Some of them are unique cards based upon some backstory information. Some of them is based upon your class and even your species as well, or race. So that's your deck here. You will notice that there's a marker up here. This is to indicate what player marker I have in this game. We'll be using these tokens to be put into a bag, and that's going to be drawn out to see who the bad guy is going to attack as we go through combat. So that's just a reminder of who I am. Below that, we have our health dial, and then armor as well. So these two will be vital to making sure we stay alive. So the armor does get reset at the end of every round of combat, so you have to build that back up. But yeah, health can't go above your starting health. And then probably the most important thing down here is your focus down here. So this is how you're going to pay for all your abilities. So we have a little marker right here. This is on the +3. So basically every round I'll be getting 3 energy to be using every turn. And the dial below here is the actual amount I have to use. So I can spin that down or up however I need to do to play my special effects and abilities. And then we have a bunch of cards below. These are different items I have. So I've got a left-handed item, a right-handed item, and then just a amulet, basically. So I've got a wooden staff, mystical charm, and a wooden mask to help my shaman in this combat situations. And then there are spots for 3 passive cards that might come out of your deck. They'll stay out and they'll have long-lasting effects. That's basically what it looks like for the player side. Now, if you were to play with companions, it might look something like this. So this here is the warrior I've built for this scenario. So it looks a little bit different because instead of having a deck of cards, we have a big class board that tells you what he can do. Still has the same health, armor, and energy to deal with, but it has a card of abilities I can use instead of going through the deck of cards. In addition, all the items in the game are double-sided. One side is for players to use, and the other side is for the companions to use. And so it's really nice they have a nice little interpretation on how they can best use those abilities in the game. So this is the warrior running around the bone axe. And of course, because I like my support classes, we have a mender, Nora, to also round out the team. So a shaman, warrior, and mender in this playthrough. So I'm jumping ahead past the tutorial so you can see the rest of the game. So this here is the city of Ildor. So on this map, we start the guard station. There's a temple we can visit, an arena, some quarters we can visit, a bazaar, or Karmath's house as well. So we can visit all these. So I'm going to choose one of these encounters to go to, and then we'll see how that plays out. Because I'm a shaman, I feel like we should go to the temple. That seems thematically appropriate. So let's go start an adventure down there. The temple is a grass-roofed hut with multiple stone benches inside. A handful of congregants sit on them and watch a silver-haired priestess with a snake curled around her right arm, who stands before a massive copper basin in the center of the hut. Her eyes are closed. She sways as if moved about by a breeze. Wrapped around the supporting pillars are vines of Matox flowers. Their sweet aroma fills the air and puts you at ease. So how this works is now we have a choice. We have basically one of, well, three choices. We can sit with the congregants, we could talk with the priestess, or we can leave. But if we were to sit with the congregants, basically we have a choice here. And the choice is, and check ritual. So whenever you see that checkbox here, it means go check your journal. In the journal, you'll be able to check off different boxes for different keywords you've encountered. Obviously, since we just started this, we don't have that one checked off. But if we did, that would define us to go to 2.1. And we move on. We have an acolyte in our party, we go to 2.6, and otherwise just go to 2.1. So right now, we have the choice to sit with them or go talk to the priestess. You know what? I think we'll talk to the priestess. Let's see what she's doing with that basin. So we're going to go to 2.2. So here we are. We don't have the Victor's Quest, so we don't go to 2.4, so we'll just continue reading below. So first, and now anything with italics is like game text. So in this case, if this is your first time playing as an NPC, we recommend referencing the player's NPC section of the rulebook. So this is just added rules text to help you play the game. But we're going to talk to Citrine. So the nice thing is this gives you the NPC's appearance, demeanor, and ideally, if you're not playing solo, you would hand this to someone else, and they would, act out and like really get into the style of the character. But the important thing is the hidden agenda is something that the person answering the question shouldn't really want to know about that. But she's an old human woman with milk white eyes. You seek to prove yourself through the crucible. If you succeed, you will meet our leader. If you fail, you're welcome to try again, so long as others have yet to claim victory. Either way, if you're to survive, you'll want some more supplies. So here's our option. Now, anytime we have an underlined part of that, that is something that someone can interact with. So it's basically open information for the other person to respond. So in this case, if they respond with something about the crucible, we jump to the crucible section. So let's do that. What's the crucible? A test to find the strongest warriors, for only those have a chance at ridding us of the pale. You will fight a failed one of the beasts that you may face in the fog. Hope you're prepared for a challenge. Say, well, what's the pale? The name of the fog that fills the valley. We do not know how it spreads, but nothing so far has slowed it. Said, how do you defeat this felt? A decisive foe, and one not to be trifled with. They can be intimidated by noise, but beware. Its claws are sharp and can be most dangerous when cornered. So at this point, like, okay, you know what? Big creature, how do we deal with this? We might need some help. Let's see if we can ask her about some supplies. Should you win, we will give you rain bread for your time in the valley. And, of course, most importantly, the Merrick Drought. In the meantime, take these. So now it's in italics, so now everyone's going to get a healing tonic. That's pretty sweet. Awesome. At this point, I'm pretty good. We got some healing potions from her, so let's just choose to leave. The priestess turns her back to you and bends down to silently examine the contents of the basin. End exploration, go to map A. So that was pretty nice because everyone got a healing tonic. That lets you spend 1 stamina to grant 6 health. And grant is a special word in the game that lets you apply to anybody in the game. So spend 1 of the stamina, anyone can heal 6. Okay, we got some healing tonics. Let's go ahead and head straight to the arena and see if we can't get some combat. Now that we got some, we're fine. We got some supplies now, right? Should be fine. You approach the festive and imposing structure. You walk into a small antechamber and see a guard rolling dice and chuckling to herself. So let's talk to the guard. So the middle-aged folk woman, a wry smile. My friends, welcome to the arena. Is there anything I can do for you before you face one of these fearsome beasts? Or perhaps you're fully prepared for the trial that awaits you. What can you do for me? Let's figure out. Why, I'm so glad you inquired. You see, these contests are not just about physical prowess, but also about preparation. If you are interested in being a bit more prepared, I would understand and be happy to help, assuming you had something worthwhile. She gently pats the fine dagger hanging at her side. So I don't know if we have anything to offer her, so let's just continue on from there. Let's just talk about the beast. What's up with the beast? You only fight one of them, of course, but we keep several felids in the kennels here. Some are stronger than others, but each has a snarl that will keep you up at night. I advise prudence when fighting one. Well, we're fine. We got the health. We're good. We're fully prepared to do this. Very well, then. We'll have your fight set shortly. Please head on in. Now we go to 3.2. You enter a circular coliseum with walls too high to scale, 4 pillars placed around the arena. for cover and a stone floor etched with intricate designs. An identical pair of doors faces you from across the way. To your right is an ominous black gate. There are a few Eldorians in the stands above. It is quiet enough for you to hear their murmurs.
Newcomers, from the looks of it. They won't last long. Might as well leave now. Today's fight will be a massacre.
You stare at the black gate as you take a strategic position. A massive leaf flutters down from one of the branches and lands in the middle of the arena. The crowd has gone silent. A drop of sweat dangles from the tip of your nose. The gate swings open, and a felon slinks out. So now here we have to gain encounter cards 2 and 2A through 2AE and place encounter cards 2 and 2A in the play area. So basically it tells you what to grab the cards, lay them out, and then we're going to start the counter. So let's see what happens. So here's the card 2, the most important card in this. So of course we've got the name, the reference number, and then you see down here we've got 2 different heart values. And it depends on how many characters you're playing in the game. In this one we're playing a 3-character game. That's the triangle here. So you see it's got 3 characters. So we'll be using the 18 as our health for this character. And below that we see what the objective is. We just need to simply defeat the felon. But we also start with card 2A in the play. So this says the gate lifts and the felon stalks out, eyes scanning the arena. It looks eager to lash out at anyone getting too close. So we look here, if bribe, we did not do that, so we can ignore that. Basically, this is a conditional statement where anything on the left of this divider is the condition, and the right is what you do for it. But it does say here that attacks generate +1 damage. And that symbol is specifically player damage. So the nice thing is we do extra damage to this beast. This symbol here is part of the phase of combat. I'll show you that shortly. But basically it says here, if we deal 3 damage to the felon with attacks, we're going to flip this particular card over. Otherwise, the bottom of the card tells us a lot of information. Of course, we've got a left or right for 3 or 5 characters. In this case, we're doing the 3 characters. So what that means is we're going to be, after all the heroes are done taking their turns, this creature is going to deal 6 damage to 3 different targets. That's what those 2 symbols mean. But let's look at the actual order of combat. So the first thing we need to do is we need to set it up. So very simple, we're going to be drawing 5 cards, and we're going to set our stamina equal to your recovery. In this case, because our recovery is 3, we're going to get everyone start with 3 stamina. Everyone else starts with 12 health. And then we're going to generate what's called 2 threats. So basically, 2 of our threat tiles for all the characters that go in the bag at the beginning of the game. And now we're going to go into recovery phase, which we skip on the first round, but this one we would reset our blocking, we would gain stamina, and then we would draw cards. There's also some trigger effects that might happen as well. But the meat of the game is the hero phase. So that's where we start right now, and that's where it's going to matter. If we can deal 3 damage, we can flip that card over and see what it says. But in this, we're going to be playing basically 3 types of cards. They're going to be just normal attack cards that come out. There's going to be persistent cards and instant or reaction cards that come out as well. After we take all our actions, the enemy phase will go, and we'll do those 3 attacks I mentioned earlier. And we'll determine that by drawing out of the bag who they're going to attack, and then we end the round and rinse and repeat. So so it's easy to follow along, let's look at what my class ability is. That's a shaman. So this says, if I support and then heal, I can grant 2 health. So what that is as we play through our cards here, some of the cards might say support on them, for example, like that one. So if I play a support card, then sometime later in my turn, play a heal card, that will trigger my special ability here to then heal someone. But the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to play this Embolden card. So the cost of this card is right here. And right now, there's no number there, so this is free to play, which is really nice. This does have a persistent effect, so it's going to go into one of my prepare slots. And this is the effect it has. Once per round, when I would grant an ally, basically give them stamina, I can instead give them block, so I can help boost them up to deal with some of these incoming attacks. This over here is a discard effect. So optionally, if I don't like this card, I can just discard it and get 1 stamina. So for free, I'm going to play that into one of my passive slots here. But let's do some damage in this one. I think the first thing I want to do is let's have our warrior have some fun. So because they don't have a deck, they operate a little bit differently, and we can choose to do one of these abilities on these cards. So this card, for example, has a very simple ability, Strike. For 2 stamina, I can just do 2 damage. Now remember, our attacks generate +1, so this is actually going to be 3 damage. Usually, a lot of these abilities do trigger threats. So we put stuff in the bag, so they will attack them more likely. Nice time with this one is just straight damage. However, we do have the Bone Axe, so deal +1 damage and generate additional threat on your first attack each round. So even though that is blank, I am going to generate even more damage, so it'll be 4 total damage, but we do get that threat. And we keep track of that by blocking it with this cube. Now, anytime a companion would draw a card, because they don't have a deck, they would instead be able to remove one of those cubes from any of their blocked abilities. So that means we're going to take one of these threats, and I chose this symbol to represent the warrior, to put into the bag. And to keep track of the health, there are, of course, damage counters in the game, but I'm going to make it a little easier for everyone and put them on the screen in digital form. So we're going to take the boss from 18 down to 14. Also, remember, we do need to spend that stamina, so we spent 2 of our 3 stamina for that effect. What I'm hoping to do is maybe have the warrior take the attacks this round. So I'm going to spend another stamina here, bringing it all down to 0. And I want to do this top effect to grab another taunt in the bag and give them 1 block. Being the support character I like to play, I'm going to play Encourage now. So this is going to cost me 3 of my stamina. So it's going to be all of mine, down to 0 down here. And then I'm going to generate 1 threat for that. So that goes into the bag. And I can grant an ally 2 card draw and 1 stamina. So I'm going to choose that for our warrior. But remember, instead of drawing cards, they remove these cubes from those spaces. And I have a special ability of Embolden. So instead of giving them the actual stamina, I'm going to instead give them blocks. So now they're going to be 2 block. So try to see if they can be the target of these upcoming attacks. This can be pretty bad. Also, I do have my next action card cost -1 stamina. Let's see if our Mender can also help. I'm going to have our Mender spend 2 of her stamina to do this opportunity ability. That's going to give them a card draw and give them Taunt. Now, Taunt is pretty cool in the sense that instead of putting one of these into the bag, you put it on top of the bag, so it will be guaranteed to be the first one drawn. Now, we do have an item on our Mender. It is the simple wooden bow. So once per round, gain 2 stamina when you contain our supports. She just did a support ability, so she's going to gain back 2 of that stamina. Quick clarification, I did forget, since we did do 4 damage to the enemy, not 3. We should have flipped it over at that time. I was thinking this was at the end of the combat, but it's during combat. So we flip it now to see what happens. So as the felon roars in fury as it swipes at those closest to it. So it's going to be 6 damage to 2 targets. And this is going to happen at the end of the round. So at the end of the round, we're going to look at this. Heroes that attack this round receive wounds. And then we're going to discard this card and then get card 2B and 2C. I think we made it angry. Alright, I'm feeling pretty okay with that. Let's end the round now. And so what's going to happen is the bad guy is going to do its 2 attacks of 6 damage. So the first one is going to be drawing off the top of the bag, which we know is our warrior. So our warrior is going to be attacked with the 6 damage, but looking at what they actually have 2 armor, so they're going to take 4, which isn't too bad, down to 8. And then we need to figure out what the next attack is, so let's reach in the bag and see who gets attacked next with that 6. It is me, the shaman. So unfortunately, I do not have armor. So I'm going to take that full force, going from 12 down to 6. Ouch! But now we do the end of turn effect. So anyone who attacked them is going to take 3 damage. So 3 minus the 2 here. I believe they're going to only take 1. So 1 damage there, which is nice. They're blocked. And then this will go away, and we're going to get 2B and 2C coming out. So here's 2B. The felon is a blur of gray and brown as it dashes around the arena. So this is during our combat here. If we reduce the felon to 8 health, then we can get rid of this card and get card 2E. If you contain 2 times, so we can keep track of this by putting markers on it, we can flip this over. So we have to watch the card we play. If they have the keyword contain, that might trigger. Otherwise, they're going to attack 4 times for 6 damage, which is pretty horrible. Here's 2C. The crowd erupts as the felon retaliates. It reacts aggressively to the noise. Perhaps showing off a little will stir them up. Here may spend +1 stamina on an action card we play. If you do this 3 times, then we get to flip this card over. So that is us showing off during that noise. Okay, next round, our armor goes down to 0. We're going to gain our stamina, so we're going to gain 3 to everyone. Everyone's going to get a chance to draw a card, which means for our companions to remove the cube, and of course we just draw a card from our deck. Okay, looking at the board, we do have one ability with contain on here. This challenging shout has the contain keyword. So let's give this 1 at least, but that's expensive. We could probably make it work, but I don't think we can get the 3 we need for this. I'm leaning towards, let's just see if we can go and knock down this Felid from 4 down to 8, which you gotta do a lot of damage for that. But let's just start off with, I think, probably the easiest choice here, and just do a strike with our warrior here. So it's gonna be 2 of our stamina. It's going to be +1, +2 damage. So it's going to be 4 total damage already with that. But remember, we do need to add one of those threat into the bag. Now, unfortunately, that extra +1 we had floating around was on the card that got discarded. So it's no longer in play. But that was still 3 damage, which is a really good hit. So we need to do 3 more damage somehow. I think we might be able to figure out a way to do it. Okay, what I would like to do, I'm going to discard this reprieve card just for the stamina there. I need some more stamina for what I want to do here. And then I'm going to play the card Diversion. So Diversion is going to add one of my threat tokens into the bag. It's going to do 1 damage to the boss, which is great. Knock him down 1 more. And grant an ally a card draw. So let's do that for our warrior, because I don't have a lot of attack, but I can support. So that's going to remove this strike from the warrior, which is great. And then what I can do is I can choose the card Empower. Empower is going to cost, because I want to use that strike again for 2, cost 2 more of my stamina. So I'm down to 0, but I'm going to gain 1 stamina back. I'm going to get 1 more threat, and then I pay that cost. So for them. So that's nice, is I can then trigger that ability on their behalf. I'm not entirely sure if this is correct, but I think I still need to cover this up. I'm not positive on that, but I'm going to play it for this playthrough, and I'll put a comment below if that is incorrect. But the nice thing about that's going to do another 2 damage to them, which was awesome, because we did do the 8 we needed to discard this card and get card 2E. In desperation, the Felid leaps off the arena wall. A section of the stands is damaged, and several in the crowd are hurt. If you grant 8 health, so we can heal 8, to the crowd is an ally, which is cool, and they're going to get rid of card 2C first and flip this over. Otherwise, we just need to defeat the Felid, and he's going to attack 3 times for 6 damage. So I think it's something I can definitely do. I'm going to spend and do 10 wounds here. It's going to cost 3 of their 6 they have saved up. It's going to add 1 of their taunts into the bag, but we have grant 4 and 4. So 1 of those 4s will grant it to the crowd, and then the other 4 will grant it to our warrior. So a warrior will go up to 4 here. Actually, no, you know what? I'm at lower health. Let's do it to me. I need more health. Let's go up to 10. Feel greedy there. So, okay. And then we have 4 to the crowd. But the nice thing is, let's go ahead and spend 1 of these stamina here, down to 2, to get rid of this healing tonic, to grant 6 to the crowd, and that will make the crowd friendly to us. So we can then get rid of this, get rid of card 2C, thankfully, and flip this over. The crowd gives a standing ovation while you heal the injured, keeping the Felid at bay all the while. So it says here, if 2D or the 2D advanced side is in play, mark crowd's awe, otherwise inflict -1 speed, which is great because now the enemy's going to attack 1 less time. That's cool, so they're going to help us out a little bit. So they're going to attack for 6 with only 2. And we can track that with 1 of these tokens here. A little worried about the incoming attacks, not going to lie. So, yeah, that's going to be a bit of a problem. Let's spend the warrior's last stamina, and let's use this healing tonic consumable to heal them 6. The good news is I don't think anyone's going to die. We're pretty high health. We do have 2 attacks coming for us. Let's just end the round and we'll go to the next one. So let's see what the first attack is going to be. It's going to be on the warrior, so they're going to take 6. And the second attack is going to be on the shaman. I'm going to take 6 as well. Okay, we're really hurting, but let's see if we can get through this. We just have to survive. Hang on. Okay. I mean, I feel like this strike has been doing such a good job with us. Let's just start off with that. Such a good ability. For 3 plus 1 threat in the bag, of course. So a total of 3 more damage on the boss, down to 5. Okay, I think I have a way to make this work. I think I do. So what we can do here is let's go ahead and use opportunity up here for our mender. So that is going to use 2 of their stamina, down to 3. Grant a draw and a taunt. It's probably not going to matter, but I'm going to do the taunt, of course, right? So give this to our warrior, and more importantly, I want to uncover that again. Now, our warrior is short, right? Short a little bit of energy. But I can help out with that by discarding this card, which generates 1 stamina. And they can then take it and then spend those 2 to complete that strike attack for another 2 damage, knock him down to 3. So now we just gotta do 3 damage somehow. Now the nice thing is, because of our bow here, we do gain 2 stamina because we did do a support ability. So got so much stamina over there. Actually, yeah, that's gonna help us out. Because what we could do is we could spend 4 of that and use their anticipate ability here, which is going to give them another threat, of course, but it is going to drop the speed of the enemy by 1. So the nice thing is we have 2 attacks coming at us, and grants us 2 healing. I'm going to take that healing, so gain 2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 1 of my stamina here. Let's get rid of this tonic, out of tonics, to gain 6 health, but instead I'm going to gain only 3 of that. 1, 2, 3. And the reason for that is I have this mask. So it's here, whenever I gain health, I can gain 3 few to do a damage. So instead, I'm going to not take all that and just do 1 more damage to the boss, bring him down to 2. I wish I had something else I can do, but I don't think I can. I don't think I can take him out this turn. But I think we're going to be okay. We have to make it through this. So, nice thing is they're attacking only with 2 for 6 damage. So let's end it here. I know it's kind of weird to say end it here because Fareth is going to die, but he's not exactly going to die. I have an option here. So let's do that. So let's do the taunt. So 1 attack is coming to Fareth, of course, our warrior. And so he's going to take 6. He has no armor. He's going to drop down to 0. So wah, he's dead. But, surprise, surprise, I have a Desperate Prayer available. So this one is going to cost the rest of my stamina down to 0. You may only play this card immediately after an ally dies, which is now. And it's going to add 1 threat token into the bag for me. They're going to go up to 1 life. So, nope, not quite dead yet. They're alive. So that was one of the attacks. Here's the second attack. So this actually, if the attack hits him again 1 more time, he's actually dead. I can't do it again, unfortunately. And he's dead. Okay. So, wah. Our warrior is dead. Oh no, because we now gotta do 2 damage. How are we gonna make this work? Okay. So let's go ahead and gain our stuff. Now, important thing to note, anytime you would draw a threat card from the bag and there's a defeated character, you skip that draw and draw another one. So it's not a free miss or anything. But I think we're okay here. Because I think our mender has the option. So we can spend 3 of that 3 of their stamina to do the effect 10 wounds. So grant 4, and they're going to get, of course, 1 threat in the bag. But that can go to me, and the nice thing about this is I have that mask, so I can basically just take 2 of that. I'll take both effects, and the other 3 will convert to 2 damage, which is just what we need to defeat the Felid. Woo! Okay, we were successful. So now we jump back to the book and continue reading on what happens. But at this point, I do want to keep this short and try to avoid some spoilers for you guys. This should give you a feel for how combat works, how you can control the stamina, and how the encounters work as well. But yeah, if you have any questions or anything you saw here, and I have any errors, go check the pinned comments on the YouTube section below, and I'll include all the stuff down there. But anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time at the guild. Bye-bye.